Yes, official hardcore is happening. It is coming out. We're gonna be getting a PTR of some sorts within a few weeks. And probably this summer is, I believe, what he said. We're gonna be getting an actual hardcore server, which will be very interesting, guys. Oh my gosh. I looked over the actual announcement and like I thought a little bit with it through. I really doubt we're actually gonna get any like specialized rules, because from what he said yesterday and how he like mentioned it, is like I don't think they're gonna be doing any like specialized rules. I feel like the idea that they want to do with it is they want the player to make the decisions in the game themselves. So if you want to play a certain way, you're gonna be doing that. I don't think Blizzard will go in and say, okay, you can't trade with people, you can't do other certain things as well, like only allowed to do a few dungeons here and there. They probably want people to play however they want to play. So I don't think a specific rule set as we're used to right now will be in effect. I think the Mak'gora thing is amazing. Honestly, I think that's absolutely badass. Having like some sort of like a dueling thing, where like if you die in the duel, you actually die. I think that's pretty sick. Even if people don't use it, and it's gonna be so rare you see anyone doing like a Mak'gora, the fact that it's there is really cool. I like that a lot, actually. I think that's badass. The whole, okay, I have like a paint, okay? We got the paint, guys, okay? I mean, so the whole trading thing, right? Trading versus... Does it make it no trading? So for the hardcore thing, right? There's obviously gonna be like a big difference in these two things. The current one we have is the no trading thing, right? We do not have trading. This is like more like a what is it called? Solo self-found, I guess you could say, right? SSF, right? Whereas this is like you can just trade with everybody. There's good and there's bad things about both. I think the current iteration we have is this. This is the current one. Right? And this is like gonna be official probably. Probably, right? The good outweighs the bad. If you're stuck and of course from after you die, then who cares if you can trade? Well, there is a few good and bad things about this, right? I guess it being SSF is a good and a bad thing in of itself, right? Good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, first things first, right? There is a very, very obvious bad thing about having trading in like official hardcore, right? And the main thing is gold selling. RMT, right? That is the main problem with that, right? Because there will, if there is an economy, if there's something like that, there will be like gold selling and stuff like that, right? Like obviously. There's also like another thing, which is bots, right? I mean, hardcore bots. I mean, as long as they kill like low-level mobs, there are like no issues whatsoever, then that's definitely going to be something that's going to be really, really, really bad, right? Because bots will be more rampant with it, and there's going to be gold selling for sure, right? It basically becomes the pay to win if there is trading. Well, to a certain degree, right? Bots will be #1 target for Greaves in a good way. Well, there's also a good thing about the whole trading thing, right? And a good thing is that like it's sort of like it's the MMO feel, right? There's a very, very strong feeling in MMO of being able to trade with people and like having your resources be valuable and like sort of just trading with people, because let's be honest, a massively multiplayer online game, I mean, it's in the name of it, right? It's trading with people, interacting, and like actually having those like, you know, interactions with people. But do you want that feeling in a hardcore? For the time being, how we've had hardcore has been what is it called? It's been like a solo self-found, right? That's how we've been playing, right? MMO feel, when other people buying gold, well, that's where the bad thing comes in, right? It's a good thing that we get the MMO feel, but that thing could be negated by having the gold selling RMT and bots, right? So these two things sort of negate each other in a way, right? Because will the market be completely crap and it be horrible? No trading and no auctioners will be the lame as hell in the long run. It's a strange thing to really get right, and I think no matter what we do, there will definitely be people not happy with it, right? I think the trading route will probably be the route they're gonna go down. I really, really think it will be. If there's trading and there's bots, and I ain't playing that shit. I think there's really, really good and bad things about both, right? The good thing about the no trading thing is like less bots. Like a lot less, right? Like, because there's not going to be really an incentive to really have bots whatsoever. I mean, the only incentive to have a bot would be to like level up a hardcore character then you can play on. There would be no gold selling. There would be no gold selling at all, and the bots wouldn't be running rampant in the same way. We don't know to which degree the bots would be there, if even they would, right? So yeah, they said that the safest route is for bots. They won't easily die. There will be a way, definitely, to like make bots be very, very good. Oh, bad? Did I say no gold selling? So that's gonna be like a good thing, obviously, right? Less bots, no gold selling. That's the main two things about that. Yeah. So with the no trading thing, there will be different things as well, right? Like should trading then be allowed at max level? Restrict auction house and trading at level 60. Disable mailboxes. I think that would be a nice solution. Restrict auction house and trading to level 60. That could be a really good. Should we make a whole different thing? Possible way of trading in hardcore. So there's one thing, the one way I really, really liked it is that no auction house at all. So auction house would not be there at all. You trade items for other items. So let's say it's called bartering, right? It's like bartering. Right? So if somebody wants to like, you know, trade something, you have to talk to them and be like, okay, I see you have like a searing blade or whatever. I'm gonna give you some copper ore and whatever for that, and then we can trade like so. So somewhat a PoE style, right? Like a PoE style. Instead of it being like a currency with gold, gold would be used to like repair and do other things, but there would be no auction house, and you trade for items. It's actually quite an interesting take on it, right? I mean, it's a possible way of doing that. Would it work? I'm not sure, right? That would definitely be quite interesting. There's also the other thing that somebody suggested here as well, which was restricting trading to levels. Right? So you would do it like so. Can only trade people within 5 levels. Plus minus 5 levels. Right, so you could, like a person that's like level 44 could trade a person that's between, like 45 could trade a person between 40 and 50, right? The trade within 5 levels is pointless. At level 50 would simply trade at 45, who would trade down to 40, and would trade it to a 35 and trade it to a 30. That is true. Yeah, you can abuse that. And the thing we know about it is, guys, is that there would be a way, like you can abuse, if there's something that you can abuse, people will abuse it. You can never stop all abuse. That is true, but you could, I mean, you could limit it in the beginning of making it so that the way you implement it couldn't abuse, right? How would the barter thing affect tunes level 60 though, where the trade restriction would be lifted? Kind of like it would make things infinitely harder when it's supposed to get easier. It's a hard thing to really make work in a way, because like you could also say, okay, like all trading is allowed, but then, you know, bots and other stuff as well. What about mailboxes? Then you would have to limit mailboxes as well, right? Self-found account, mail only to yourself, and all items bound instead of soul bounding. So you can level multiple characters, professions to help each other, but no trading with other people. Also, you mean you can, so like mailbox is like a account bound or what? Is that what you're suggesting or what? Solo self-found will probably just be like a community thing. Guilds will use add-on and be specifically community within the server. If we are gonna get trading, SSF will definitely be a thing within like the server. It's not gonna be like an official thing. It's something that people will do within their retrospective, like, you know, communities and stuff like that. Because I highly doubt it will be SSF, guys. Solo self-found. I really don't think so, right? It should be SSF. That's part of hardcore. Not necessarily. That's part of the hardcore experience that we've had so far. And the reality of it is that it's not going to be SSF. I really doubt it, right? I really, really doubt it. Rule number 1, no rest, and community can manage the rest. I really think, Lyrian, what you're saying is how it's going to happen. I really, really think that's how it's going to be. We're just talking like potential thingamajigs, really, because I think the discussion is quite interesting. If anything, I agree. The discussion definitely proves that there's going to be so many polarizing opinions about this. So if Blizzard does end up actually changing something, it's gonna be very difficult to please everybody, right? Alright, so this is the video with the announcement and stuff like that, myself reacting, right? Unironically, the announcement of official Mak'gora is the first time in decades I've been pleased with something Blizzard come up with on their own. I actually really agree with this. I think the Mak'gora is sick. I would like to have something with a ghost version of you staying where you died in the world and giving shamans a spell that can see into the spirit world around them and see the ghosts of the players who have died. Maybe the last words they said like the add-on does if you talk to the ghost. Just a fun thing, and I know it's impractical. I'm excited to see where hardcore goes. Cool idea. I mean, actually kind of cool idea. I will say, the whole spirit thing where people like get left in a spirit and stuff like that, I actually think that's quite cool. Just the thought of that, like you could be running around and there could like be people like running around with their ghosts and stuff like that, and like you wouldn't know, right? Huge props to Kargos and the early OG. Kargos is definitely one of the boys, man. I'd really love them to add official achievements like the ones in the add-on, but with added titles and such, like for completing all dungeons whilst leveling. I agree. I think some actual achievements could be quite sick. So there's a bunch of different achievements you can choose, right? Like Statics Challenge, or Insane in the Membrane, Tunnel Vision, Solitary Struggle, like different sort of ways of playing the game that makes it harder on yourself, but you get an achievement point for doing it, right? So you're not allowed to use health potions, or you can't use you can only stay in Kalimdor. There's no mounts, flight paths, or portals. There is no talents allowed, and there's also questing achievements, right? Like doing certain bosses before a certain level, and then you get an achievement. I think something like this could be really cool. I actually think that's an interesting idea, and something that would make the personal challenges quite fun, right? Like you could impose a challenge on yourself. Let's say if trading is allowed, there could be like an achievement with no trading. So like you aren't allowed to trade people at all before 60, you will get an achievement for it, right? That could be kind of cool. I would love to see that stuff. Titles? Like, imagine you do a... okay, let's say, like a random thing. Imagine if you do... there's an achievement for solo self-found. So, like, you are a player and you're doing an achievement where you aren't allowed to trade anyone. When you get level 60, you get an achievement called the Lone Survivor or something like that, right? And you get a title. So, like, you would be the Lone Survivor, Guzu, right? That could be kind of cool, like something like that, and whatever, like Lone Wolf, yeah, Lone Wolf Guzu, or Lone Wolf Quiplix, right? And then people could see that you didn't trade people along the way, you were solo, right? That could be 6, or like if you win 100 Mak'goras, the undefeated, you know, or like the champion. I hope Blizzard listens and does something about all the griefing going on. I know everybody's gonna start at level 1 so for a while, and there won't be any still. Definitely, everybody being one life will make griefing a little bit less attractive in a way, but people will still do it, right? Is there gonna be some sort of like an anti-griefing thing with like GMs? Are we gonna... a big thing you could do to prevent a lot of griefing is... maybe look at the scatter shot thing with being able to kite like a mob over to people, and then scatter shot, feign death, and then the mob accrues to another player regardless of how far away you are. That's the main way that people grief, right? They bring a mob over, they scatter shot, and then they feign death, and then the mob goes on you, right? And then there's another thing that maybe, I don't know if they're even gonna do this, I don't know if they'll do that. That's a terrible idea. You mean changing that at all? I think that they did with Kazakh is that they made Kazakh only able to run around in blasted lands. So like Kazakh is then bound to blasted lands. They could do it the same way with other mobs as well if they want to like actually, you know, change something in regards to griefing. I'm not saying remove certain abilities from classes and like change the fundamentals of the classes. That's really silly. Don't remove anything like that. But maybe change the way that leashing works on longer distances. So you can't drag a Devil Sword from Yunguru Crater to Shimmering Flats to kill Soryu, right? Having a variable rule set is going to be super weird. If everyone is playing a different set, then it's going to reduce the meaningfulness of someone actually beating it. Imagine forming a group with a dungeon, and there's people who are allowed to do more than one instance and much better gear than the base. They won't ever want to risk something with a group who's locked into one thing and their character's at stake. You won't be able to find a group for anything if you're sticking to an add-on style. I think a lot of these things that people are talking about, in general, I would say don't change a lot of stuff. But what I really think could be cool is the achievement thing. Like having some achievements that you would attain by playing the game in a certain way, or like limiting your character in another way would be really cool, right? Players don't know what's best for them, neither do Blizzard, equals problem for gaming. Yeah, a lot of the times people don't know what they want. And that's why I think it's a very dangerous route going down, changing a whole lot of things, right? Because maybe Billy wants one thing to be changed. Let's say Billy hates auction houses, and he is advocating so hard for removing auction houses because it ruins the integrity of hardcore, and it is a plague, right? And then Billy ends up getting auction house removed because he pushed for it so hard. Then Kevin comes, and then Kevin loves trading. And then Kevin makes a Reddit thread, and it gets a lot of traction. And then suddenly everybody hates Blizzard because Billy made Blizzard remove auction houses. You're gonna have so many polarizing, like, different opinions opinions about it, and it's never gonna make everybody happy. Mostly baseline game would probably be the best way to go about it, I think, if it's an official thing. And then people can play whatever they want in a way where they could be incentivized by achievements. I really think this achievement thing is a cool thing. If you can do 5-level range, just make items soulbound after trading once, so you can abuse it. Okay, so you're talking about like you can trade items once. So if you get an item, you can trade it to one person. Actually, so items would be tradable within 5 levels, like 5 levels below, 5 levels above. Once that one item is traded, it's soulbound. That's actually quite a cool idea. That would mean you could trade with other people.
And it's art.
Wait, actually, that's actually a really cool idea.
How you doing?
Trading within 5 levels of what you are. Once item is traded, it becomes soulbound. This is actually quite a cool idea. What about gold? Yeah, see, that's where we run into an issue, right? Just make it so that level 60 is their own bracket. So then you would make level 60 can only trade to 60. So that it like you can't like have a level 60 that's like, you know, trading stuff down and everything like that. People are worried about boosting and gold selling. Does anyone really think about a single bot could get to 60 without dying? I don't think it would be very difficult for a bot to get to 60 without dying. Make a character, farm green mobs. That's it. Like, getting to 60 on hardcore, guys, is not difficult if you're just doing it the easy way. If they limit trade in any way, it would ruin the fun for me. It's a big issue, man. I don't know. It's a big issue because a lot of people like the whole trading thing, right? And everything like that. So why do people struggle? Because people take chances. People do pulls that are like, you know, scary. And if you are a character, if you are a bot that's like, you know, you're only killing green mobs. The bot is designed to only kill mobs 4 levels below it. It will never die. Like, you can't die. The reason why people don't do that is because it's mind-numbingly boring. Why should gold be able to be traded, though? Well, gold could be used for mounts and, you know, for... I mean, if there's chrono boons, for chrono boons and other things as well. So you want to remove the auction house from the game at all. Well, I don't really know how you would then tackle the auction house. Maybe there would be a level range of the auction house as well. Like, people that posted that has to, like, buy stuff within certain level ranges too. Again, it's changing the fundamentals of the game. Come on, man, none of this will happen. There's just gonna add no res and that's it. Probably. But I still think it's fun talking about. You are probably right. Yeah, it'll probably just be like a no res thing with a Mak'gora and that's it. But I think it's a fun conversation to have. Like, I do really think achievements could be really fun, right? And under achievements, obviously, titles, right? Imagine getting like an achievement for being, you know, for being like a solo self-found, or an achievement for not having a mount, or an achievement for only playing a certain talent or something like that. It's for ego? Yeah. I mean, probably. I mean, it is what it is, but that's what people, like, a lot of people play the game like so, right? Ego is huge in a game that's all about investment. At the end of the day, MMOs are about investing time and everything like that. And a lot of people want to get certain titles for ego reasons. Most of the rules are there because there's also softcore players. The rules are in place because it is not a hardcore server, right? It's like to have people to play with in a certain way, right? I feel like we can talk about this forever, though. We probably need to move on at some point. It's just a very interesting conversation to have, though. Generally speaking, though, I think the trading thing we talked about is really cool. The thing I think is the most interesting to me is the achievement, the achievements. I would really love to see that.